Alright guys, just wrapped up this 2021 Super Duty. It's got the 7-inch BDS radius arm kit, Fox shocks, 37 13 50 20 Nitto mud Grapps. This is of course on the factory wheels. To run these on the factory wheels, you will need a 2-inch wheel spacer. That's going to keep it from rubbing on your radius arm, your sway bar, and your brake lines. Now on these trucks, you can have 2 different rear axles. So when you're purchasing your wheel spacers, you want to make sure that you match your spacers to whichever rear axle that you have. One axle is bigger and has a slightly larger bore on it. I've seen guys that have tried to use the wrong spacer and it will crack the wheel spacer. Now this is the radius arm kit, as you can see here. It is going to have a rear cross member for your transfer case indexing kit. This is going to reclock your transfer case, which drops your front drive line, your front drive shaft down enough so that you don't get bind on the boot. So if you look up in here, see if I can get you in there, there is a rubber boot that if it's not dropped down, it will tear that boot when it's used in full drive. So you'll see some of these kits that are sold without that. The indexing kit's what I'm referring to. If it doesn't come with a new drive shaft or an indexing kit at 6 inches or up, then more than likely you're going to end up damaging your front drive line. So just a heads up on that. This kit's also going to come with your sway bar drop brackets, trap bar drop, and a new pitment arm. You've also got your stabilizer. It's worth mentioning that Ford uses a one-time use pitment arm nut, so they do not include a new pitment arm nut in this kit, but they do point out that you want to make sure you use one. So if we're not installing it, make sure your installer gets a new OE nut and torques it to the factory spec, or it will come loose. Off the top of my head, I think that spec's around 350, but don't quote me on that. I will take you one step further and I'll go ahead and pull out one and give you the part number on that nut, just in case you need it. And get that to focus there. We keep these in stocks. We do a lot of them when we don't want to be having to. It's a lot easier just to grab them off the shelf and put them on than it is to try to order them for each truck we do. And that's all it is. Very minor trimming on this. Now you will see it's got the different valence on it, being as it's a Tremor. It's also worth mentioning that since this is a Tremor, while it does come with a factory lift, those components are removed when this kit is installed. So it's going to set as high as any other 21 non-Tremor with a 7-inch lift. So just, they're not stacking those, just so you know. If you have a Tremor, you're not going to end up with additional lift. You're going to still have that same 7-inch height. Everything clears really nice on this setup. Guys, if you're not subscribed to us yet, please do hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe. We have a lot of people that watch the videos that aren't subscribed, and it would go a long ways in helping us make this content. So one other thing I want to point out, I still get a lot of questions on this, the 6 versus the 7 versus the 8. So the 17 to 19 Super Duties, now we're not going to talk Tremor right now, we're just going to talk base model, anything else but Tremor. So 17 to 19 are going to sit 1 inch higher than the 20 to 22. So when you buy a 6-inch lift for the 17 to 19, you're going to end up at the same height as you will when you buy the 20 to 22 7-inch kit. So the trucks are going to sit the exact same height. They use the same coil springs in the lift. The difference is the 20 to 22, they start off 1 inch lower, so you're netting 7 inches of lift, but the overall height of both trucks are going to be the same. Hopefully that makes sense. I get a ton of questions on that. But yeah, so yeah, this truck with the 7-inch kit on 21 would be the exact same height as a 18 model with the 6-inch kit, because they are essentially the same coil springs. So just keep that in mind when you're shopping lift kits. Some manufacturers do have different labels for their 17 to 19 or 20 to 22. Some manufacturers will just call it a 6-inch kit and tell you you'll get less or more depending on what year it is. So just keep that in mind. On the rear, you're just going to get your lift blocks in your rear 2.0 shocks. It does have the bump stop pedestal built onto the block, so that's nice. You don't have to have an additional bracket. Alright guys, I think that's going to be it on this one. So make sure you like the video, subscribe, stay tuned for more.